Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. And in this video, we're going to talk about a tool which I have recently made to automate the stuff. To give context and what is the problem statement is that while doing the audit, specifically ITGC audit in case of SAP application, one of the domain we check is the access to the critical codes, right? And during those testings, we need to obtain the user list for a particular T codes, and there are lots of T codes, critical T codes. There is we usually get around 20 listings for the 20 T codes, and then we need to perform certain steps. So mainly there are three steps. The first one is combining all those files manually, and then the second step is applying some kind of the transformation, some kind of the filters, and the third step is pivot. Now in these three steps, I think so the majority of the time if we do it by manually, spends in the step one, which is combining all those files, because it is not necessary that the format of each file is going to be same. It can be dynamic. It again depends upon the version. So SAP has multiple versions like ECC, Rise, and HANA. In case of Rise and HANA, usually we get the in a standardized format, but in case of the ECC, it's pretty in a non-standardized formats. So in that we need to transform and we need to convert it into standardized format manually, and then add it one by one and compile it, and then after that we need to apply some transformations and pivot. So pivot is nothing but the last output, right? So when I thought of, first of all, trying to automate this stuff, the only thing which came into my mind was the Power Query, right? Because Power Query has a beautiful feature, the native feature of combining files through a folder. But here the tricky part was the format of each file is not going to be the same. So let me just show you what I mean by the format. So in these folders like ECC, as I said, there are multiple files. There are around currently 21 files which we need to combine. And let me just open one file to just give you the context of what we do mean by the unstandardized format. So as you can see in this file, right, first of all, it's not in a standardized format. There are lots of blank rows, lots of blank columns. So that's transformation the we need to do. And apart from that, actually if you see, my headers is starting from here, right? But I still want this information to be captured. Why? The reason is being that this user list pertain to one T code, right? What is a T code? So there are three things which is important. One is a T code, which is SE38. One is the authorization object, and one is the value, right? I want this thing to be also captured, so that whenever I'm combining all those files, I will get a result that, let's say for example, Ethan Carter has SE38 T code access with the authorization object s underscore develop having the activity values being 1 or 2, right? So I don't want to delete these first rows, because if I delete all these rows, the data will be gone with respect to the T codes, authorization object, and value, right? So I need to capture this before deleting it, and then probably delete all the junk data, unnecessary blank rows and columns, so that whenever I'm combining those files, all my T codes names as well as the proper user list will be in place, right? So to do this task, the Power Query's native feature will come into play, but Power Query, as you know, does offer some of the features through drag and drop functionality. But if you want to really unlock or explore the power of the Power Query, you need to hands on the M code, which is a mashup language. So for this kind of tricky scenarios, M code plays a very important role. So what I will do is that I will just close this file, and I will just give you a demo run how these things works. So as you see, this is the file which we need to combine, and there are multiple files as such. So let me just open up another file, which is this. So probably the format is not necessary to be same, and as you can see, the T codes are different and the user names will be different, right? uh, this is a tool basically. So before even running this tool, you need to make sure that the VBA settings are turned on. So there are two ways. One is just open this file, go to the file, then go to the options, then go to the trust center, then go to the trust center settings. In that, go to the macro settings, and here you need to look for the two options. One is enable VBA macros, and the second option is trust access to the VBA project object model. Once that has been done, there can be one more error which currently it's not appearing, but it may be possible that in your case it's appearing. I will probably give you the snapshot of that error. To solve that error, what you need to do is just close this file. Just locate the file which has been saved, right click on it, go to the properties. There will be one more option to unblock this. Right now it's not happening because this error is not coming, at least in my device, but I will again give you a snapshot of how it will look. Once you click on that unblock, you can probably click on apply or OK to remove that error. So let's open this tool. So as you see, there are three worksheets. One is the consolidated sheets where right now it's blank, where all the files will be combined. Then there is a filtered users where the step 2 will come into picture, where we will apply some kind of the filters and do some transformations. And the last one is pivot, right? So for these two, consolidated and the filtered users, I am using Power Query, and for the pivot, I am using the VBA. So I will just show you the Power Query M code as well. So to do that, we need to go to the data and we need to go to the queries and connection. Right now here you can see there are multiple queries in place. You can see one is for ECC and HANA Rise. The main difference is that with related to the format of ECC, the one which I showed is in the CSV format. When it comes to the HANA and Rise, format will be in a standardized report format, right? So probably I will just click on this, and right now you will see error because we have not given any kind of path as such. But if I want to show you the M code, so this is the M code which is going to be running at the background, transforming all the unstandardized format and combining all the files, right? This is applicable for the ECC. The similar code in a different fashion will be written and for the case of the HANA, right? And for the VBA part, which is used for pivot, we can see the code as well. So let's hit the Alt and F11 to launch the VBA editor. There are certain models which has been created. So one is the clear data. So there is one option which has been given. Like there are, as you can see, there are two buttons. One is an execute, one is a clear, right? So once you are done with the run and you want to delete this data and run this query for another client, you can click on the clear. So the code for that is here. Mandatory fields. So as you can see, there are 4 fields in place, right? If I even try to execute this, it will give me the error saying that path of the folder is blank. So these all 4 fields are very much mandatory. So code for that has been written here. The 3 steps, right? The PQ load data is morely on consolidated sheet and filtered users, because for these 2 steps we are using the Power Query, and I'm using VBA to refresh those Power Queries. And the last step is pivot, for which we are using the native VBA functions to generate the pivot table, right? What I will do is that I will give you a demo run. So what we'll do is that we'll copy the path of the folder, right? Before running this, for ECC, the file name is okay whether it's written as a T code or not, because in ECC, if you double click on it, I can get the T code, I can get the authorization object and its value from the file itself. But in case of the HANA and Rise, where these filters are not in your output, you need to give the file and the authorization object and the value in your file name. It's up to you, whatever the file name you want to give, because ultimately the file name is also going to be part of your consolidated sheet as well as the filtered users and as well as the pivot. So the file name will be appearing in all your steps. Okay, so let's just give the path of this. Second one is the data period from. So this data is pertaining to the financial year 24-25, which is starting from 1st April 2024 to 31st March 2025. Since this data is relating to the ECC version, I'm going to click on ECC, right? As you can see, all these three worksheets, be pivot or the filtered users or the consolidated worksheets, those are blank as of now. Once I hit on execute, the Power Query will run. It will connect to this folder, combine all those files. It will apply its transformations and filters as per step 2, and then VBA will come into picture to do the third step, which is pivot. Okay, so let's just click on execute and see how much time it takes. It should probably take around 15 to 20 seconds. Okay, right now we are getting an error. Let's end this. This error is because of the file is already open, right? So to remove this error, what we need to do is just close this file, right, and just clear it, because I want to make sure that my worksheets are clear, and then again execute it. So one thing that need to be taken into consideration is that if you want to execute this tool, make sure that only the tool file is open in Excel. There should be no other raw data should be open, because it will throw an error which I shown you, right? So it has done the first step, it has done the second step, and it has done the third step as well. And as you can see, it has got the a box like queries refreshed and data loaded, right? So coming back to the step 1 consolidated worksheet, as you can see, the file name is appearing. So these are the file names which is appearing. All right. Let's open this file and I will just show you how it is going to capture. So it's kind of, first of all, transforming this unstructured format to a structured format, simultaneously capturing this key details like SE38 S_develop, which is nothing but the T code authorization object and the value, right? And I have given a logic to kind of combine all this with a delimiter which is dash, as you can see here, the T code authorization object and its value, and rest all details are coming from this table, right? And then doing this same job for the files which are available in that particular folder, right? And then there are some filters which has been applied. That is, one of the filter is that we are taking into consideration some the active users, that is nothing but the users on which there is no log. And another filter which we are applying is that the valid to date, which is nothing but their access to that T code should be greater than or equal to our start of the audit period, which is nothing but the 1st April 2024. Okay. And we are also taking one more filter, which is the user type, taking into considerations only those on which the logon is possible, which is e-dialog and s-service. And the last step is the pivot, which is the output, and from which one can get a clarity that how many users have access to which critical T code, right? So ultimately this is the output which we document in our work paper, right? And usually combining all these files, around 21 files, usually took me, I think for one of the first client, it took me around 25 to 30 minutes. And through this kind of tool we can do this similar job in less than 20 seconds, which kind of boost our efficiency to the max, right? So I thought of sharing this tool with you guys, so that probably you can take some kind of um, idea from this and probably develop and trying to automate your repetitive tasks. So if you have any questions, do let me know in the comment sections. If you have any kind of queries, let me know, so that I will probably answer those. And if you like this video, please make sure to like, and thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye bye.